Okay, so I have all of this and not a single plan and no clue of how we're gonna do it. All right, let's go. Hey painting pals, welcome back to Mandy's Minis. And yes, today we're weathering. I have all these pieces, Warhammer terrain pieces, that I need to weather because, well, they don't look ready for Warhammer yet. But here's the fun of it. Some of these products that we're going to use, I've used before with success, without success, and some of them I've never tried before. So we're going to have some fun with it, and I have no clue what we're going to do for what, and not really any idea of what's going on or what I'm doing. So we'll just figure it out as we go. Start with one piece. I think I'm going to start with this piece. And I'm going to use a few products that I already know how to use and have had success with. These are Vallejo, Game Effects, and mostly Rust and Verdigris. I also do have a chipping medium, which goes with the chocolate chipping with the AK. I also have another AK chipping and a different AK chipping. So we're going to try a bunch of these since we have some different terrain and see how they work. But for now, I'm going to start with just the simple Rust and Verdigris, along with some dry Rust because you need that one too. I am going to grab an old brush that is frayed and not so good. Not using our good brushes on any of this stuff. Grab a little pokey tool. I grabbed the wrong pokey tool. It'll still work. Now this one to me feels a bit too bright orange for some reason every time I go to use it. But I've also gotten some good results with it. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. And I'm going to use the frayed, take advantage of the frayed brush to get a little bit of dabbling here. And one of the things that I tend to do is go overboard with Rust. And that's why I like using paints. I know this says it's a game effect and this and that, but I'm going to tell you, it's just paint. This is just an orange paint. Maybe it has a little something in it that helps it build up some more texture than regular paint, but it really feels and works like just regular paint to me. And again, I'm going to keep going over the same areas in some places to try and build up that texture because Rust does have a texture to it. And let's not forget this little metal panel over here. But of course that's not going to have as much Rust on it. So I want to be a little more careful with that. But Rust also tends to start where water pools. So I'm going to move right on to the dried Rust. And we're going to get some of that on there as well. And I'm doing it at the same time, I'm going to say because I want it to mix, but really, well, let's be honest, I'm just impatient. Okay, don't forget the sides here. And now it doesn't even look like I have any silver on it. That's okay though, because we're going to fix that later. So then we can go on to the Verdigris, but honestly, I don't feel like there would be any Verdigris on that grate so much. But I'm thinking I'm going to get some on that panel in the back, along with some more of this brown. But it's okay, even if I don't get Verdigris on this, I have plenty of other pieces here that we're working on, and lots of things that I plan to add Verdigris to. Now the older Rust is the darker Rust, the newer Rust is the orange. And as you can see, I probably have been going a little too far with this as well, like I always do. But, you know, we'll see, and worst case scenario, we'll pull it back in the end. But for now, I'm kind of having some fun with it. And that's the important part. Honestly, I love doing weathering. I really, really do. And one of these days, I'm actually going to be good at it. It's not today, so don't worry. You guys will have lots of fun laughing at me. There we go. Hey, look, that looks pretty nice. What do you think? Maybe I should do some on the grate. You know what? Let's do it. It is looking kind of nice. Just a little bit, though. Color's kind of mixed, a little too much over here. But I think that we're going to get some interesting looks from it. So I'm excited to see that when it dries. Also, that still looks far too clean. So we're definitely going to need to hit it with at least a Agrax wash or a black wash or possibly some of these other materials we have going on here. Since we are on rust and verdigris, going to actually jump over to, this is a trunk, and this is the Dirty Down rust that I'm sure you've all seen videos on, and if you haven't, you really should check them out. They really made me want to go out and get this right away, and I did, and I have honestly never had it work very well for me. Every other YouTuber seems to love it and they rave about it. Me personally, I just mess it up. This is where the trunk opens, so of course there's going to be a good deal of rust there. There's going to be a good deal of rust at the bottom. So this one is going to be fairly rusty. So I almost don't mind putting a bunch down. And actually, I am running out of this product. It's not for lack of trying that I don't do well with it. It is completely 100% user error. So let's see how this works with you guys watching. It'll either turn out cool or it'll suck. We'll see, and even if it does, I can show you guys how to fix it. Because the fun part was when I told one of my friends about how I suck with it and I always have nothing but trouble and go too far with it and all this other stuff, they pointed out it's water soluble. You just take it off with water if you've gone too far. Well, silly me. Okay, I'm really loving that though. Wish I had more in here. Let's get some water, see if I can get that. Yes. And like most things in miniature painting, water solves all the problems. Okay, so that's kind of fun. But of course, I don't want to just leave it there because that's kind of boring. And of course, I am going to do more to it later. But we're going to try the verdigris. And the verdigris, I've had even less success than with the rust. And there's a lot more of it because I really have not used it much. So I'm going to just put a little bit here and there just to try and get some additional color and feel in here. Make it a little more interesting. But again, honestly, every time I've used this, it has just gone to black and just looks like a little black mush. Alright. That is way, way heavy. We're definitely going to take some off of that in the end, but that's okay. Alright, what's next? We're going to do this one next. And this time, I have over here Rattling Grime, which I think is acrylic. I've used it a little bit, but it's just a contrast paint. Streaking Grime, this is actually enamel. So to use this, I have to get out the mineral spirits and all of that. We're going to do that for you. But I'm going to start with the Rattling Grime contrast paint. I think that's going to work really well over here. And I'm just going to try and grimy it up. They're ruins, so of course it's not going to be very nice. Oh, but look, I feel like I've finally got something I didn't go too far on. Alright, I'm liking that. I'm going to keep a little eye on this up here because it does keep pooling. Remember when you're doing this, now I'm in a hurry. I'm kind of going a little harder on a lot of this stuff, but remember, you can always build it up. So if you're not sure, leave it there. You can always add more later, but that's so much easier than trying to take off. So don't worry about that. So over here, we're gonna do the streaking grime, and I'm gonna grab a different brush for this. This stuff I've actually even used before in a video when I was improving the terrain. Make sure I get some over here. Okay, and I'm gonna add some of this over here just because the grime look is so much better. And hey, if one is good, maybe two is better. I don't know, let's see. But I love the greenish tint in this. It just really gives it that older feel. All right, so I'm gonna leave that off to the side to dry. Got my mineral spirits here to clean my brush. Now the rattling grime works a lot like oil washes. If you go too far, you can easily take them back by just wiping it off. So the next trick I want to show you, this is one that I've done before and I absolutely love. I am going to use the Vaseline on the parchment paper that I just had to go get, and I'm going to smear this around. And I know this is weird. This is really weird, but trust me, this is going to be very cool. Now, what I'm going to do is get some paint in the color I want, and I'm going to paint on the Vaseline on the parchment paper. Okay, and I know, I told you guys that I haven't done all these before. This one I have, and this one I will tell you it works and is very cool. But this one's gonna be a payoff. You're not gonna get to see this one and how cool it is until it dries, and so it's gonna be saved for the end. So you're gonna have to just stick around and sit with me until the end. Ha 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 ha. All right, there we go. So now I'm gonna set this aside to dry. Okay, so this one we're gonna do the heavy chipping acrylic fluid, and this is A-Case, and I've never used it before. I apply 2 to 3 coats via airbrush over the surface. Then I apply another color on top, and after it's dry, dampen the surface with a brush, and then scratch and chip to show the silver paint that's underneath. Yes, impatient, remember? I did pull out my hairdryer. We've got to do some painting over it. So I'm going to go ahead and paint some of this, which it does go on a little bit different. It's just not going on smooth. That could be because it's leftover paint. It could be because of the chipping medium on it. It could be that I'm just not doing a good job. I don't know. Not really going to try and figure it out either. I'm going to enjoy it. This is part of the fun of weathering. You don't have to make it look good. That's not the point. The point is to make it not look good. And then I think I'm going to do some black for the middle part. Now the exciting thing about this is I am making this for my cousin and his kid, who's not a kid anymore actually, by the way. He's a professional dungeon master, so very proud of him for that. He does really well and he is very good at it. And they want to get into Warhammer, so they asked me to paint up a couple combat patrol kits for them and create some terrain. I'm not sure if you've already seen it or if it's coming. I don't know which one's coming out first, mine or Ben's. You guys will see Ben making some terrain from scratch and me weathering some pre-made terrain that we're going to give them. I actually haven't seen the son since he was a toddler, and he's now obviously an adult and a professional GM, and I'm really proud of him, and I'm loving reconnecting with him. All right, so now we're going to let this dry. And while that dries, we're going to come back to some of these other things that we've started. Now, I still like the board in the back, but I definitely feel like I need a lot more brown and a lot less orange on this grate. So we're going to do a little bit more brown here. All right, I like this better already. I think the orange was a little too wet when I tried to do it before. Obviously, this is not meant for wet blending. And I think I'm going to get rid of that silver spot in the middle. Make that all the dried brown rust as well. I just don't feel like, I feel like if it's this rusty on the outside, it's going to be rusty on the inside too. And don't worry, we're still going to take that back. But I'm also going to add a little more verdigris because I do like that. I like the mix of colors. I think it's so much fun. That's one of the best parts about Rust. Oh, look at that. I'm happy with that. I mean, it's still not done, but I am happy with that. So it's definitely looking old and worn. All right, and speaking of old and worn, this would be our Dirty Down that I told you was going to be way too strong. And sure enough, look, it's way too strong. Just as predicted, because I know myself. So we're going to use some water to clean this up a bit and take some of this back off. Oh my gosh, did I actually get Dirty Down to work for me? Be a first time for me, period, and it's on camera, which is twice as exciting. Look at that, guys. That looks pretty neat. Okay, the verdigris definitely did not help. It just kind of discolored the silver, but I'm okay with that. That looks pretty darn lovely. And now what we're going to do, we're going to play with another AK Interactive toy. And this is an aluminum weathering pencil. Yes, it's a pencil, and it's for you to make scratches and things like that, which is not going to work on this texture. Oh no. Although it is putting some silver back. So this is probably not best to be used with the Dirty Down because the texture of the Dirty Down, but where the Dirty Down is dry, it actually is making some nice stuff. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. So we're gonna call that one a win. Now, coming back here to our grime, and what I'm gonna do is I've got my mineral spirits here again. These are eyeshadow brushes, whoops. And they will work very nicely on helping us remove some of the streaking grime. Anything that I can remove after putting on as far as weathering products is good for me because I always go too far. Look at this. I still don't like that one up there, but that's not going to come off because that is actually the GW one. That's where it kept pooling. And I'm not happy about that, but I can still fix it with paint. that's a little bit better, and being very controlled on where I want it and where I want it lighter. All right, I like that. So again, I'll fix those, just getting it back to silver, and that'll be fun. And now we should be dry to test out our chipping medium. So I'm gonna get some water on my brush, and I'm gonna get a toothpick, and we're gonna wet it. And it's already kind of chipping on its own. It's like like the paint is receding, which is kind of very cool. And I've gone through and made it wet. And now I can take these and just chip the paint. Now I have used the other brand that I have over here that I have not tried for you guys on camera, but I have used it before in one of my other projects, and I can tell you that it works the exact same way. And it's just a different brand. This brand that we used was AK. The other one is Vallejo. They work exactly the same, guys. Let's try some other stuff. I'm gonna try taking some paper towel and seeing if I can get, oh yeah, that's some nice chip in there. It's almost like taking it off altogether, but not quite. Just leaving enough to make it look beat up. Well, I'm gonna keep playing with that some more. You guys don't need to watch me do all of that. And again, since I already did this chipping medium, we're gonna go ahead and skip that because this video is getting long. How about it? Way too long. So now we're gonna go ahead to that final one. So here's the cool thing about this. We're going to put it, press it onto the figure. Oh, this one stuck a little too well. This is supposed to also give a paint chipping off effect, but I can just push it all down, and now you really have paint chipping off. And that's a neat one that I don't get to play with often. I first did it on a shield that a skeleton was holding, so definitely an old Weathers shield, and it does work really nicely. I think this one had a little more trouble because it's circular, not to mention I used a much bigger piece. And then we can use some of this dark green as if there was another color on it, and that gives you a nice paint chipping off texture. Obviously I've got to get some more on, but I'll do the rest of that off camera. And now, Taylor, if you would please magically transport everyone to getting to see the final product. There's both armies, well, combat patrols that I painted up, and all the terrain I did, as well as the terrain Ben did, as well as some wonderful close-ups of this weathering session that we did. I would love to thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope you enjoyed my stumbling through it. Really enjoyed having you with me and helping me figure it out. I also want to give you a big special thank you for watching and watching all the way to the end. And the biggest of thank yous to our patrons. We love you guys. Thank you all so much for everything you do for the channel. Even just watching it really means so much to us. So thank you all, and until next time, have fun and keep creating.